in.
Ann and I are texting at the same time, so.
I know.
We're about to go live on YouTube. Don't say anything you don't want anybody to hear.
Grandma.
And Ann, you can give the hosting back to me, or you could admit the rest of the people while you're at it too.
All right, I'm going to give it back to you, Holly. We are live on YouTube right now.
Okay, great.
Hey, we're live. We're on the interwebs.
And I'm admitting a bunch more people who are joining us. And so far, everyone is in. So
muted, and changing their name to their actual names.
Live on YouTube. Don't say anything you don't want anybody to hear. Well, that was on YouTube.
Say a closing prayer, lay my body down. Do not look for me behind the silent eyes. Death, where is your sting? I will arise. On wings I will arise. Don't look for me below. Hell, it has no purchase in the places that I go. And a fallen angel with her halo hanging low, dancing with the devil, left her nowhere else to go. You can learn to fly again, not believe the lies. Straight to golden wings you will arise. Full of hell, brimstone, muddy fire was the story he would tell. Saw him as a jailer when I looked him in the eyes. Judge has set me free, I will arise. On wings I will arise. Don't look for me below. Hell, it has no purchase in the places that I go. Do not look for me, I pulled the grand surprise. Death, where is your sting? I will arise. On wings I will arise. Don't look for me below. Hell, it has no purchase in the places that I go. Do not look for me, I pull the grand surprise. Death, where is your sting? I will arise. Death, where is your sting? I will arise. Where is your sting? I will arise. Death, where is your sting? I will arise.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad everyone's here. Welcome to this official meeting of the Neen Rock Fan Club. I'm Dan Klarer. I'm the vice president, self-appointed vice president of the Neen Rock Fan Club. Of course, there are many officer positions, and everyone can self-appoint themselves, and there can be multiple people in each and every officer position. I believe Stuart Dawson named himself Sergeant at Arms. So take it what you will. Tonight is going to be a magical night. I am so excited everyone's here. And I was feeling naturally apprehensive about tonight as we were coordinating and getting things put together this week. And I got to today and I felt like my shoulders relaxed and I was just so excited to see all of your faces. And I'm going to be scrolling back and forth on my 15 screens so I can see everyone throughout the evening. It's really great to have you all here.
Daniel,
So, yes, Jeffrey.
we're getting some terrible feedback from somebody.
Oh dear. Okay, is everyone muted?
Let's mute everybody, Holly, and then Dan can unmute himself.
I will unmute myself.
I think we discovered the issue. Thanks. I couldn't find anyone who wasn't muted, but we're
Okay.
good now.
Okay, great.
Give us a little recap, Dan, because we missed a lot of that.
Oh, we did. Okay, well, recap. Official meeting of the Neen Rock fan club. You're all in it. And the greatest, the biggest perk of being in the Neen Rock fan club is that you all got to know Neen Rock, which is, I think, my favorite perk of the club. So you can appoint yourselves officers as you see fit. I appointed myself vice president because I was always vice president. So tonight we're going to hear from almost 24 people that are with us at the moment, and they're going to share some thoughts and stories from our dear beloved Neener, Neen, Kathleen, whatever name that she went by for you. And I want you all to think about what name she would give you. For instance, Molly Doodle Dandy, or she would call me Daniel, which pretty much nobody outside of my family calls me. And she was family. So that's making me very happy to think about that while I'm thinking about her. And I have my little picture of me and Neener in front of me, and I'm drinking a root beer, and I'm showing my Jackson Port Pride, and I have my flannel on, so I'm feeling all neened out. So we're also going to hear a couple of songs, and then we're just going to have a wonderful evening. So I would like to give the stage, as it were, to Neen's sister, Mary Ellen Rock, Gum, and she's going to have a few words for you.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. So I'm Mary Ellen. I am Neen referred to me as Gum, as a lot of my family does. I'm the youngest Rock. I'm in the last three. Kathleen, Mike, and Mary Ellen are the youngest trio. I just like to start by saying thank you to Northern Sky for your compassion and love and kindness during this whole thing, and just supporting our family and being there for us has meant a lot. And just everyone, all of you out there who have sent tributes and phone calls and texts and emails to us has been, you just don't even know how much that means to us. It's just really huge, and it's helped a lot. So keep them coming, and thank you for that, because the support we've had from you is amazing, and we thank you. Neen, one of the things that Neen did for me as my big sister is I was sort of her tag along for quite a few years, and I was her assistant stage manager, her ASM for a couple, probably 3 years of the UW band show. I was her ASM, and I was her ASM for some CTM shows. So I got to sort of see life behind the stage with Neen, and I was her gopher, Erin girl. And she let me do a few important things, but not many. And one of the things that always, happened when I did that was I was able to see how people responded to her, and what she was like behind the board and in front of the cast and crew. And it was awesome. And I really got to understand what she did. And it meant a lot as I was younger, even a teenager, when I did that with her. That was really something. Other things that Neen did that are theater related are costumes. So at our house, people would come from all over to have Neen make them a costume, borrow a costume, sew a costume. And so that was, Neen made my, every year she made Mike and my 4th of July parade costumes for some years. Mike and Kathleen were firecrackers and I was the sparkler. And we always won number one in that 4th of July parade. And she also made, you might remember the California raisins, but that was a big thing. Neen made those for one of my mom's shows, and I proudly displayed those for Halloween when Neen rescued me on a fateful rainy Halloween night on State Street. And a Door County story happened when Neen and I were fishing at Hibbard's Creek in Jacksonport, and we did not have fishing licenses. And Neen was a little bit of a rule follower in certain ways, as you might know, and I was not. And she said we should go get some fishing licenses, and I said no, we're just going to be in Jacksonport. No one's going to know. Well, when Neen got a fish on the line and was so excited, game warden walked up and asked us what was going on, noticed our catch, and asked us for our licenses. And I told him that they were in the car. And Neen whispered, "Why did you just say that?" And I said, "I don't know. We'll make a run for it." So he walks with us to the car to get the fishing licenses. And while we're there, Neen says to me, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "I'm going to look around for the fishing licenses, and then, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll make a run for it." And, she said, "No, we're going to tell him the truth." So I had to relent, let Neen take charge. And she told the guy that, of course, we didn't have licenses. We weren't being honest. So, of course, we were ticketed and shamed. And then we went home. We got home a little early. And our dad asked us, why so soon? Why are we back so soon? And she tells him everything. I mean, she just tells the whole story as though it's, and I'm trying to hold back, but she tells the whole story. So anyway, that was Neen. But she always was protective of me, always looked out for me. And she was a great big sister. So I think that's a lot about Neen in theater and a little bit in the fishing Door County world as well.
Thank you, Gum.
You're welcome.
Yay. I'm already so excited about everybody's stories. I love hearing about Neen from people who I either know or don't know, and stories that I haven't heard before, and some that I have. I've definitely heard that story before, and it's one of my favorites. So next, we are going to hear from Tim and Sue Stone. They're longtime friends and volunteers and board members at Northern Sky Theater. Hey, Tim and Sue.
Ready? Good evening. I want to relate a few things about Neen. Neen, it started when Fred Alley called about starting an American Folklore Theater Community Board and invited one of us to join the board. We met Neen along the way, volunteering in the park, building a new dressing room, a new stage, a new creative center. Neen always made time for a smile and a comment, no matter how busy she was. As Mary Seabridge said to us, when you saw Neen come around from backstage to the top of the house in the park, climb her perch, you knew the show was about to begin. What fun, what joy. With Sue and Tom Alt, we fed the cast and crew at rehearsals, between shows in the park, and at the new Gould Theater. Neen would grab a bite on the fly, and yet with a smile and a thank you. Speaking of the Alts, their home is connected by a sand beach 3 homes north of Rock's summer cottage in Lake Michigan. One topic Doc Rock loved talking to the Alts about was the many accomplishments of Neen. He was in awe of her and often referred to her as a genius in the fields of electronics, set, prop, and costume design. He never held back expressing how proud he was of his Neen. Neen grew up in a nurtured and inspirited, loving, dynamic family, and she graciously and effectively shared those life skills which have enriched so many people. We attended many a Saturday evening University of Wisconsin varsity spring band concert in the Cole Center in Madison. Thanks to Professor Mike LaCrone, we had great seats next to the tech area. Who was there right in the middle of the action? Stage manager Neen Rock. Once again, always a smile and a warm greeting. Mike built these concerts into a Las Vegas type extravaganzas. No small task for our Neen to lead. Our granddaughter, Maggie Godfrey, worked for Neen as a summer intern in 2018. Maggie decided to go around and ask her fellow teammates 6 things that made them happy. Neen was always so busy, yet she never brushed Maggie off. When Neen had a moment, she would track down Maggie and tell her one of the happy things. In the end, Maggie did not get the final 2. The 4 she got were beautiful sunsets, naps, doggies, a day off, actually a day off. Per Maggie, now when I think of Neen, I enjoy all those happy things. Molly, your interview with Neen in the park was absolutely spot on. Finally, Neen would have been a fabulous air traffic controller at O'Hare. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Stones. Oh man, I mean, the positivity, it's always the positivity. Like nobody was more positive than Neen Rock, and no one could play stewardess / air traffic controller like Neen Rock. And I know after she was done at I think it was my first year at Northern Sky as an intern was the year that she stopped doing the band show. And they had to hire, I think, 6 people to do her one job, which always just, I mean, didn't surprise me, but just made me love her all the more. She's amazing. So next, we are going to hear from W. Earl Smith. And Earl is a longtime friend of Neen's and the former artistic director at Madison Ballet, where Neen worked for many, 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 many years. So Earl, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Like Dan said, my name is Earl, and this is my husband, Jackson, who became a good friend of Neen as well. I got to tell you, I met Neen in May of 1999. And it was our very first production meeting of Nutcracker. I was just newly appointed the artistic director, and I met the production staff. We ended up having about an hour meeting and decided to, continue our meetings at another time, another place. And Neen caught me in the hallway and said, "Hey, can we get together?" And I said, "Sure." We'd been meeting in the office, and we went to a little Mexican restaurant. And needless to say, we never discussed one thing about Nutcracker. We drank way too much. And all I can say is that we became very fast friends after that. And, Neen, I won't even really talk too much about our work relationship because it was really about the friendship, like I think a lot of you would concur with. But there's one particular story. We were doing a ballet together, and I had done a number of ballets. I've been in the business at that time for about 30 years. But what was really special about this one production, Peter Pan, was my dad was coming to town, and it was the first time he was ever going to see me do a ballet, having choreographed it and staged it, and I was nervous. And my dad was currently, at the time, he was the commanding officer of Pearl Harbor Sub Base, stout military man. And Neen, found out that he was a submariner. And that's when I was just fascinated with that. Neen had this love of submarines. And she was just like fanatical about submarines. And she couldn't wait to meet my dad. And she goes, "Well, when are you going to invite him backstage to watch a show?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not." And she's like, "Well, you are, because I want him backstage with me. And I want to talk to him." And I said, "Okay." So I said, my dad's probably not going to do it. So I asked my dad, and I said, "Of course I'll do it." So he came backstage, and Neen sat him right next to her stage manager counsel and gave him a phone that he could listen to all the calls and all the shifts and how it was all the communications between the stagehands and all that. And I was doing my artistic director job and sitting in the house and making my notes. And after the show came back, and Neen and my dad and a few stagehands were talking, and I went up and I said, "Hey, Dad," I said, how did it go? He goes, "Damn." And he's from Mobile, Alabama. So he said it in his very, very Southern gentlemanly way. But he said, "Damn, boy, that is one hell of a ballet." And I said, "Well, that's cool." He goes, "What did you like about it?" He goes, "Well, I like sitting back here watching it. I didn't like sitting in the house watching it." And I said, well, that's interesting. I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, it's nice to see all the stuff going on." And he goes, "Man, I tell you, that Neen Rock certainly knows how to be the captain of the ship." And I went, wait, whoa. I said, "Dad," I thought I was the captain of the ship. And he goes, "No, hell no." He goes, "You're the admiral. You're the one that sits in the office and never does anything. And it's the captain of the ship that actually runs it." And I was like, oh, man. And I'll tell you, Neen never let me forget it. And she always would say, whenever we had any problems, she goes, "Just remember who's captain of the ship, Earl." And I said, "Okay, touche." And that was Neen, always a jokester, always just very giving. I've been very, very touched emotionally reading everyone's tributes and their honors and their messages and their stories. And regardless of who they are or when they worked with Neen or what their relationship was with her, they all had the same sort of feel to them. And it was that Neen was a caring and giving human being that just put everyone else above her. And I'm going to miss her dearly. But I just got so many wonderful memories to always remember who she was and how she affected me and all the people around me's lives. So Neen would love it if I toasted her. So here's to Neen Rock. Thank you.
To Neen Rock, to Neen Rock, to Neen Rock. Wow, that's fantastic and hilarious. Well done, Earl. Well said. We all knew who was captain of the ship. Always some of my favorite memories. And I know I see a lot of faces out there that have worked with Neen backstage. And if you didn't ever have that joy and pleasure and honor, you should check out on the tribute page, or I think it's maybe the Facebook page, but there was a video posted of all of this really complex series of cues that happened during, I believe it's Nutcracker, and it's the fly rail, and you can hear her soft voice in the background going, cue, 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 go, 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 go. And it's just like a barrage of cues, and it's masterful. It's amazing. So please check that out if you haven't seen it already. And next we're going to hear from Karen Brown-Larimore, who is, again, like us all, a longtime friend of Neen, but Karen has worked with her in many capacities in both Madison and up here in Door County. And Karen, take it away.
Hi. I don't have any great stories that I can share with people, but Neen for me had 3 parts of my life. She was a union sister. We were both stagehands in the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees here in Madison. So we worked a lot of shows together. Even though I just do wardrobe anymore, she did everything. She was an electrician. She was a carpenter. She was follow spot. She was wardrobe, and she was excellent at all of them. We also worked together at Madison Ballet and up at Northern Sky as wardrobe stage manager. And she was the best stage manager I've ever worked with. Besides the technical aspects, she listened. She thought problems out logically. She solved issues. She was wonderful. Sorry. And then the best was as a friend. I didn't learn till after we lost her how many people talked to her on the phone. I thought with her little flip phone, she, never talked to people, but we would talk for hours and hours and hours on the phone and talk about family and issues and theater and David Bowie and Edward Gorey and Disney. And it was wonderful. And I miss her. And that's it.
That's all we can do is just love, spread the love, and think of all the good that she did in the world. And we're so grateful that she was a part of it, and she made time for everyone, literally. And it is unbelievable how she did that on that little flip phone. And I know at least half the people here probably offered her, Neen, if you want to get a smartphone, I will sit you down and I'll take you through it. I promise. It'll be nice and easy. And you know, every time I say that to somebody, they're like, yep, definitely did that many times. Oh, she nailed it. Well spoken, Karen. Thank you. And now we're going to hear from Molly and Sylvia.
Hi, everybody. I'm Molly, and know Neen from Northern Sky. And I'm going to give you a show and tell about this helmet.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, and I'm going to tell you how Neen and me made this helmet together. So I was 7, and now I'm 9, so this is like 2 years old now. And I was really into this DJ called Marshmallow, and I wanted a helmet that looked like his. So my mom and my dad did not know how to help me with that. So we asked Neen. And we sent her a picture of Marshmallow, and she didn't know who he was. So she did some research, and she found this video on how to make a marshmallow helmet. And she found
a bunch of different sized buckets.
She got a bunch of different sized buckets, and we did a bucket fitting. And this actually red bucket covered in 6 layers of white spray paint fit me perfectly. So we got a stencil, and me and my mom cut it out at home. And then
Neen helped you place everything, and she got us all the materials.
Yeah. She cut it out, and then she found this really cool screen, and we put that on inside here, and she added foam
For depth.
to give it depth. And then also
There's a surprise inside. It lights up because DJ Marshmallow, needs a disco dance show inside the helmet, which is perfect because every good Neen Rock prop had a battery pack. So this was a very exciting project for you.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when Sylvia wore this around town and the other kids saw it, oh boy, was she popular. Everybody wanted your helmet.
Yeah.
And what was so cool for me was to watch how Neen took Sylvia through this process as a collaborator. I was mind blown at how she spoke to Sylvia as a 7-year-old, the exact same way she did any adult designer that I'd ever seen her work with. She asked for Sylvia's input on every detail, wanted her to make decisions. It was a group effort for them, and she encouraged her creativity so much. She also welcomed Sylvia and lots of other kids, countless kids, onto her bench at the back of the theater. And I would send Sylvia with a notepad and a pen, thinking she could draw some pictures.
Yeah.
And after the first time, that wasn't enough. What did Neen do next time you sat with her?
She took out her kit with a bunch of pens in it, and she let me pick out whatever I wanted to use for my art, so I could draw and express my imagination as much as possible.
She wanted Sylvia to have the right tools. She opened her very special stage manager kit and let her pick anything. And she had fine tipped Sharpies, thicker Sharpies, highlighters. She wanted her to have the exact right tools. And she facilitated the creativity of the whole family, really, but most generously and profoundly with Sylvia. And we are so grateful. So that is our show and tell.
And it was really fun to make this with her.
And we're going to miss her
very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was lovely. Honestly, she was teaching. Even when she wasn't teaching, she was always teaching. And she always said too, just ask. Just ask. And she always had the solution. There was not a problem or a query that our little Neener couldn't handle. Next, we are going to hear some words from Dawn Welter, who's known Neen for over 30 years and has volunteered for the theater. And we're excited to hear from you, Dawn.
Okay, thanks, Dan. So when I first got the email about doing a tribute for Neen, I thought, of course, I want to say something. She was a wonderful person and she meant a lot to our entire family. And then my next thought was, no, I can't say anything. I won't have anything to say that other people won't already say and probably say a whole lot better than me. And a couple days later, I was riding the motorcycle with my husband and I had all these memories of Neen come to me. And I kept thinking about all the times I was going to miss seeing her. And so when I got home, I sat down and I wrote this for her, and it's called I'll Think of You. When I walk down the winding tree-lined path to the theater in the park, I'll think of you. As I open the latch on the volunteer gate and see your perch, I'll think of you. When I open a Northern Sky playbill or email, I'll think of you. When the Herbst clan leaves the theater and we miss your sparkling eyes, big smile, and warm greeting, I'll think of you. When I volunteer at Strike and have a question that only Neen can answer, I'll think of you. When I walk past your office at the Gould Theater, I'll think of you. As I enter the Neen Rock costume shop, I'll think of you. When I hear Katie Doll sing Kathleen, I'll think of you. When I see my sister in the dress you altered for her son's wedding, I'll think of you. When my mom wears a blouse you adjusted for that same wedding, I'll think of you. When I drive by your house on Fieldcrest Road in Sister Bay, I'll think of you. I'll think of you as a bright soul who we lost too soon, who was passionate and compassionate, smart, fun and funny, creative, hardworking, dedicated, loyal, an amazing human being. I'll think of you as someone who is deeply loved and missed beyond measure. Rest in peace, dear Neen, and know that I will think of you often. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
I love seeing everyone's little hearts on the screen. It makes me so happy. And I know we are all thinking of Neen whenever we do any of those things as well. Very, very well said, well written. Jeffrey, I was wondering if that was a good position for you. You're next.
I
Jeff
know.
Herbst.
I'll go over to the piano. I just wanted Charles to be able to say hello to. And we're actually at my mom's place up here in Sister Bay. That was my sister Dawn, and I hate having to follow my big sister. She's always so darn good. Okay, I'm going to go over to the piano and I'm going to sing a song. All right.
Did you mute this?
Yeah, you should mute that.
Please hold. Please hold.
Okay. Now you're gonna have to mute that thing too.
I like the echo effect, though. That's nice.
Are we okay now? Oh, Charles.
I can. Okay.
There it is.
Got it.
Some people. Is it still echoing?
Yeah.
You need to mute his output as well.
What do I need to do now?
Turn down his volume, yeah.
All the way down? It's we're totally muted. Okay, I'm gonna just turn off your video. You guys, we
Got a
didn't
little
have to pause the
feedback.
sound check.
Holding for technical difficulties. Please hold for technical difficulties.
You guys, I'm totally flummoxed.
Might be easiest if Charles leaves the meeting and then comes back in when you're done playing.
That happened to me not too long, or about a week ago. It was the same thing. So I think Charles has to leave the meeting for sure.
Luckily, Charles is in the same house and can hear the song. Give her the old 1-2 punch.
This is a good time.
You know, this is a good time to think of, as we all say, what would Neen do? And I really feel like there's got to be T-shirts or bracelets made of what would Neen do. Things changed. It's live theater, baby. Here we go.
As long as Jeff doesn't forget to unmute himself now.
You'd think this is the first time I did this. Am I interrupting now? Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Herbst. I'm Artistic Director of Northern Sky, and I met Neen. I was introduced to Neen by Fred Alley. I was back from grad school in the mid-'80s, and Fred was doing a show in Madison, and he had just met Neen himself shortly before that. And both of us became involved with the Heritage Ensemble prior, of course, to Northern Sky, AFT. And I started working with Neen, and Neen, for me in my life, has the distinction, along with Doc Heidi and Dave Alley, of being collaborators for, I guess it was 33 years that we worked together. And man, it's been a trip this particular year with everything being on hold. I think it's one of the things I missed the most this year was just getting a chance to really see Neen in her element at Northern Sky. One of the things that she of course, was so unbelievably good at with our little company was as the mother hen of the interns. And she took that responsibility incredibly seriously, and she was a marvel to behold in every way in how she shaped and molded people's lives, young people's lives. And I know that when we called to talk to everybody who knew Neen after she died, that to a person, every single intern that we contacted who had worked with her said that they had had a life-changing experience by working with Neen Rock. This song was from Fred Alley's first album called Beneath the Northern Sky, and it speaks for itself, I think. Sing a song of being gone, pocket full of rye, and I'm the only blackbird beneath the northern sky. And this song is for my lady, whose eyes can see me home from that lonesome stretch of skyway that I roam. Hey, diddle diddle, the cat plays the fiddle, and I am the man in the moon. And I shine because my lady lies beside me 'neath the northern skies. I sing to her my being gone tune. I'll return to sleep beside you, for beside you I am home. I'll bring with me the music of the skyways. When time for traveling the skyways is done, I'll return to sleep with you always.
song of being gone, lover's lullaby, a wish upon a star that falls across the northern sky. And this song is for my lady to sing when she's alone, to call me from the skyway that I roam. I'll return to sleep beside you, for beside you I am home. And I'll bring with me the music of the skyways. When time for traveling the skyways is done, I'll return to sleep with you always. Sing a song of being gone, pocket full of rye. I'm the only blackbird beneath the northern sky, and this song is for my lady to sing when she's alone, to call me from the skyway that I roam, from that lonesome stretch of skyway that I roam. Love you, Neen Rock.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. That one always gets me every time. Well, who's going to follow that one? Look, it's Mike Rock.
Wow. Jeff, that was great. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Rock. I'm Neen's brother, closest in age sibling. We were kind of almost Irish twins, though not technically so. First of all, thank you to Northern Sky and everybody for making this happen. And the candlelight walk that's going to happen in a couple of days for those who can make it to Door County. The family, I'm speaking for the family for a second. I can tell you that we are overwhelmed, overjoyed at the love. And man, we really feel incredibly fortunate. So fortunate that we had a sister who not only did what she did, but wrangled and directed and stage managed so many people to be around for us in the event of her departure. She really prepared all of you so well to take care of us. That's pretty amazing right there. Neen has a family in Equity, her Equity brothers and sisters, her IATSE brothers and sisters, her Northern Sky Theater brothers and sisters, her Madison Opera, Madison Ballet, Children's Theater of Madison, University of Wisconsin band concerts, the Humorology concerts. Neen's family extends through generations. There are people whose parents worked with Neen and whose children will have worked with Neen. And the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who watched amazing shows and were touched by amazing artists because Neen was able to be the glue and be the captain of the ship and make those shows look and sound amazing. And it's been said and will be said again and again that she built great props and sets and did amazing cue calls. That video is unbelievable that you can look at on the Northern Sky website. But Neen was so much more. And I just want to tell you just a couple quick things so you can have a more of a 360-degree understanding of who Neen was. Neen was an elite athlete for the whole first part of her life. Neen was an amazing dancer. She was the skier in our family, we were all skiers. Neen was the skier that people would come up to us and say, like, how are you in the same family as her? She's so much better than everybody. She's so amazingly graceful on the ski slope and on a snowboard as well. I loved hearing Dawn do her beautiful poem that she wrote, because I have similar thoughts. For Neen, whenever I think of skiing and snowboarding, I think of how amazing she was. Neen and I used to put up the holiday lights and stuff at my parents' house every winter. So whenever I see holiday lights, I think of Neen. I think of freezing our butts off outside in Madison, putting up holiday lights. Whenever anyone in our family stays up late and watches a movie and makes snacks, we think of Neen, because Neen was the ringleader of staying up late to watch movies. If you ever get ready for a road trip and try to pack your car just right, like Tetris, that was Neen. Neen was the most amazing container person and Tupperware. I can't look at a piece of Tupperware with things in it and not think of Neen. Sharpies. Neen had 5 million Sharpies. She should have been sponsored by Sharpie. Whenever I think of crafts, trips to Michael's store, trips to Home Depot, that's Neen. Neen was the sort of the ringleader of helping you see a project from an idea to completion, and she did that for the theater, but she did that for people in real life, as Molly's experiences showed us. But I'm coming to you from California. I'm coming to you from the traditional land of the First Nations Tongva tribe, where I see coyotes and hawks, and Magana and I have seen owls and mourning doves and woodpeckers and insects, and we hear rustling of things. And every time I hear a wild animal in nature, I think of Neen, because Neen so loved nature. It was such an amazing blessing for American Folklore Theater and Northern Sky Theater to have given her an opportunity to work outside in nature for her entire career. Amazing, amazing. Every time you might hear a hooting owl, there's an owl behind me. And if you do, and when I do, I think of Neen. And one last thing. We grew up Catholic, and most of us are kind of admittedly lapsed Catholics now. But for Catholics, when you were getting ready for your first communion, it was kind of a big deal. It was a big sacrament in the Catholic Church, and we would get ready. Neen and I were probably, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old or something, maybe younger, 6 or 7, I don't know. And Neen wanted to teach me how to do Holy Communion. So we went to the kitchen and found the leftovers from dinner, and we cleaned. This is crazy, y'all. We cleaned some chicken bones and lashed them together with twine to make crosses. And then Neen presided over a practice First Communion for me. And she was stage managing that at that very young age. And the show never ended. The show must go on. The show never ended. And I just thank God, and on behalf of my family and all of you, that we all had Neen in our lives and did such an amazing job training us all and teaching us all how to be better people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. That's awesome. I can hear her laughing at that as well. Her infectious laughter. Oh God, that's great. Next on the docket, we have the lovely Maureen Milbach, who is a longtime Neen Rock fan and member of the Neen Rock fan club, and also a musician for Northern Sky.
Thanks, Dan. I had to write this down because every time I look at someone, I come up with another thought of Neen. It depends on proximity, right? Where we were, what we were doing. But as a musician, our friend Neen made sure we were taken care of, kept track of, wrangled, there's the word again, by an intern, if not herself. And I always felt very supported by her in whatever was needed. She was one of the few people who knew me as more than musician Mo. She knew I was also theater Mo and teacher Mo. And so, it was nice to have conversations across the board about those. We have that shared love of all things stage manager office supplies. So the multi-type Post-its, strategically placed Sharpies, everywhere. And, you know, the latest seasonal fashion of mechanical pencils is what I was thinking about. It's like, ooh, where'd you get that lead? You know, it's always very part of the conversation. I think stealing prompt book ideas for her, how to set stuff up. I learned a lot there. I also learned how to delegate jobs better to my younger staff and students. We often discuss strategies on the side when we could, when we had time. You know, how do you do that? What's the best way? How do you treat people? And I think Neen, what came to mind is that Neen could always find the light in someone. Even if you couldn't see it right away, she would work really hard to find one good thing. If, you know, if she was struggling, if it was a personality, whatever, she would still find that in a person. And that was just always a good lesson. And I know she had a goal with that, with her interns, and what was each person going to do really well. And then how do you round that experience out for them? And then finally, how do you ask them to leave the nest? You've been here enough years, you know what you're doing, go find a theater space. That's not easy as a mentor. For a few years, I was Neen's backyard neighbor. I think I was a roommate with Treva, Marilyn, and Carrie at one point. So, you know, I remember the summer of her first aneurysm experiences, kind of being on unofficial Neen watch, making sure that, you know, knocking on the door, hey, you all right? Is everything good? And, you know, trying to do that without her knowing that I was that person trying to check on her, because she was pretty smart. But we spent a lot of time that year, especially, I think, more than usual, maybe having a cup of coffee, having a couple of drinks after work, and more, you know, sitting on the stoop with a couple of other people. And so we were also in charge of lawn care that year, or a couple of years, and we had to arm wrestle over who was going to drive the riding lawnmower. And also, you know, thought about maybe she should wear a helmet that summer for that job. I have flashes of memories of like stargazing, flower ID. There was a rare orchid we discovered in that space. And we had a lady skunk who would like go down the little sidewalk, past, you know, down the hill with her little fluffy tail shining. And of course, down the hill was Neen's van, which may have had the door open on occasion. So we always had to check for that, which was fun. And there was one summer where we didn't have one Luna moth, but 4 or 5 on a screen under a light. And that was she was just delighted by that, for sure. That was rare. And there are so many, I'm just looking at I have scribbled extra notes, but I think Neen called me Mosey a few times, Dan. So I was thinking about hey Mosey, how's it going? Mosey Dotes. But I just, you know, definitely there's a hole, and all my love goes out to the Rocks and to this giant theater family that's all feeling that loss and feeling just all the love. I'm grateful for these memories and all the people I've met through Neen. And also, I just thank her for being a pioneering wise woman of theater and being able to talk about stuff like that, and being a great role model for all of us. Just much love. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mo. I just love this so much. I love every single one of you so much. It's so great to see everyone's faces and reactions and hear all their stories. It makes me so happy. Thank you, Mo. And now, since we've had a lovely lead-in from Mike Rock about Neen's skiing, we have a lovely guest, Mike Scholdice, who was on ski patrol with Neen in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I'm part of the Uper division of the Neen Rock fan club. I met Neen in 1974 when I was the ski patrol director at Big Powderhorn, and Neen and her whole family were patrollers. And patrollers are avid skiers. They're out on the hill in any weather at 9 in the morning and they're still out at 4 in the afternoon. And Neen was a beautiful expert skier. And she skied hard all day long. And Neen's dad, Doc, was our mentor and our safety net. And Neen and Julie and Patty and Bill and John and Mike and Mary Ellen were all patrollers and great skiers. And Doc and Joan, you know, they were the backbone of the Powderhorn and the Blackjack ski patrols. And while first aid was serious, occasionally the ski patrollers would get together and enjoy merriment after the end of the ski day. And sometimes that included having a cold beer or two, or dancing, and sometimes we stayed out late, you know, even though we had to be on the hill at 9 in the morning. Occasionally sleep was not the priority. It was a family, and it was so much fun. And Neen was also a legendary pool shark. She took money off the table a number of times. She had a huge circle of friends in the west end of the Upper Peninsula, and she's loved and will always be remembered.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Michael. That's wonderful. I love hearing other sides of Neen that a lot of us that worked with her mostly in the theater didn't get a chance. Like, when would we ever have time to go skiing when there was a show to be done? So thank you for that. Next, we're going to hear from Holly Lynn, who was an intern in 2012 at Northern Sky, and then was also in front of house in 2013 and 14. Hi, Holly.
Hi, Dan. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I think I forgot to say at the front of that sentence, longtime fan of all the shows, but grew up in theater and grew up with improv, but probably didn't really understand backstage and, stage management until that summer when, as one of the production interns, I think I was probably one of the only ones that year that didn't have theater as my life goal or life ambition. It was something I loved, but it wasn't something I wanted to do as a career. And I was very worried that I wouldn't be as much of a help to Neen. So I went above and beyond as much as I could. Do you have all your sticky notes? Where's your binder? What can I do to help you? And I realized on my schedule that I had a doctor's appointment one day in Green Bay that I couldn't get out of. And it wasn't, obviously, because doctor's appointments don't typically land on a weekend, it wasn't going to be a day that I could miss rehearsal for. So I went to Neen and I was full of apologies because my previous job was full of negativity. If you needed to miss work, that was not really accepted. And I was very nervous that I was going to let Neen down. And she immediately was like, "Oh no, that's fine. Of course, you have to go. Whatever you need, take care of yourself." Hey, wait a minute, Green Bay? And I'd already kind of proven to myself to her that I could travel around Door County because my family lives there. And I could do chores for her in the different little towns. So what could I do in Green Bay? And I said, "Yes, absolutely. What can I do for you?" And she goes, "Can you go to Sam's Club? Use my membership card. I have a list. I don't have time to go." And I felt, like I was knighted by King Arthur. I was ready to go slay this dragon and do whatever she needed. So I zoomed through my doctor's appointment, grabbed the list, grabbed the card, looked at the little picture in the corner and went, "Don't really look like Neen. But maybe if I just try to breeze through the door really quickly, they won't stop me." And so I tried, and it didn't work. I don't have a membership at Sam's Club or Costco. If any of you do, you might know that they're pretty strict about who uses them. And the lady at the door stopped me, and she goes, "I don't think this is you." And I went, No, it's my mom." I'm sorry, Rox. I'm not related to you. I would love to be. Nina's not my mother. But I thought quickly on my feet and I said, "She's my mom. She works and I need to help her pick up these list things. Look, here's the list." And they said, "You can't come in. This isn't your card." And I went, "But my mom needs me to help." And they said, "You need your own membership card. Go to the service desk and have them set up a card for you." And I went, "Okay." But in my head, all these wheels are turning in the fact that I know that Neen had told me earlier, Brian has the other membership card and I can't really kick him off the account. Like, what if he needs it? I can't kick her off the account. She'll surely need it. She needs to get the creamer and the pencils and the paper and all the other things for the theaters. And so I go up to the front desk and I'm trying to explain that I just need it this one time for the creamer and the pretzels and the Twizzlers. And they say, no, you really need to get a card. Call your mom to let her do this for you. So I call, and of course the phone, I'm ringing and trying to not let them see the screen. And I'm like, hi, Mom, I'm at Sam's Club. Can you help me? They need to talk to you. And then I try to hand the phone over so they can't see the screen because it doesn't say Mom, it says Neen Rock. It all happened. It worked out. I ended up keeping that card for about 5 years. And every time I drove up to Door County, I asked Neen if I could bring her anything. But that was how Neen became my mom. And I'm very proud that I was able to fulfill that little quest for her, and just make her proud as an intern, because that was all I wanted to do that summer. And all the other summers that I moved away from back of the house to the front of the house, she was somebody that I looked up to, that I was inspired by. That same summer, I got in a little car accident on my way to a workshop of Windjammers, and I had the printer in my back seat. And I remember thinking, I'm okay. The front, the other car is okay. Is the printer okay? Because I know they're going to make changes to that script, and Neen is going to need it. She's just the kind of person that you wanted to make happy, to make proud, to make smile. And I'm so glad that there's so many people here today that felt that way. Because being here with you guys makes me feel the same way she did all over again. So thanks for creating that space.
Oh, thank you, Holly. Well said. Oh, I remember when you got in that car accident. We were like, oh no, the printer. No, we were more worried about you. Definitely more worried about you. Okay. Next, we're going to hear a little bit from another Northern Sky person, the lovely Lacrissa Granberry.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Lacrissa. I met Neen in 2018, my first summer up at Northern Sky. And I had a hard time, wanting to say something today, because I was like, there are a lot of other people who have known her for so many years and have so many stories. And I didn't want to take the time because I've probably known her the shortest period of time. And I also didn't want to cry, but I'm going to cry. So I'm going to talk through it. But I super love Neen. And in my short 3 years of getting to know her, I've had a lot of experiences and stories with her, and I'm going to share 2 of them with you quickly. One I've shared on my Facebook. Neen has a way of making you feel welcomed and like you belong like nobody else. And being someone new at Northern Sky in 2018, first time being in Door County, unfamiliar with the land and the space and the people, she definitely was a first impression of making me feel very welcome and like I belonged in the county. And I remember one of my first weeks of rehearsal, there was this whiteboard, and she wrote a note on there that said, spell Lacrissa correctly for the office staff. And I remember walking in and seeing this note, and I was like, it's okay. And she was like, no, it's your name. We're going to get it right. And I loved her from there. I just had great appreciation. But another small story is my second summer in Door County. Like the first 2 weeks of rehearsal, I was in my first time doing all 3 shows, and it was a lot happening, and my car broke down. And I was a crybaby mess out in the parking lot, and it was cold and it was raining, and everybody, like all the musicians and everybody's trying to fix my car. And I just remember bawling my eyes out and freezing and shivering, and nobody could figure out what was going on with my car. And Neen came over to me, and she was the only person that could make me laugh in all the stress. And she said, all those artists looking at your car, they don't know what the hell is going on. Like, they're going to mess it up more. Usually you got musicians and actors out there studying your car like they know what to do. Nobody knows what to do. She's like, you just need to call a mechanic. And she gives me a number, and she's like, no worries. We're going to take care of you, baby. You need to stop crying. We're going to take care of you. It's okay. It's okay. But I figured, if to say nothing else, I can say the obvious, and it's that I love her. as we all do. And I feel so blessed and so lucky to have witnessed and experienced her light and love. And so I send all of that back out to all of you in celebrating her memory.
Thank you, LaCrissa. Thank you so much. Oh, so many truths, so many Neen truths, right? And now we're going to have another little musical interlude with the golden-tongued voice of Ms. Katie Dahl.
Hello, Katie Dahl. This is Rich Higdon.
Hi, everybody.
We know Neen through Northern Sky, and she was very responsible. I would say for us getting together, in that she always made me. She trusted Rich so much, and it made me trust him. And she named him Ricardo, which I still call him. She would say, "Is Ricardo coming tonight?" And that has stuck around. I still call him Ricardo. I was thinking about how this summer I started running, and on a regular basis. And there's like the biggest challenge for me in running is like your mental challenges while you're running. Right, it's hard to keep going. And I realized I was having like a lot of voices in my head say like, you're not gonna be able to finish this. And suddenly I realized in July or August that the voice that responded to those voices was Neen Rock's voice. Their voice in my head that talked back to them was Neen, and it swore a lot, and it said, "That is bullshit, Kates. You can finish this. You can finish this. You can totally do it. You got this." She had her sort of way of like, no, it's not a problem. And it was sort of lovely to realize how she was in my mind. At that point she was still alive. And I've been thinking about her, well, everyone has, and how she's still in there. I've been thinking about this Joni Mitchell lyric. I remember one time you told me love was touching souls. Surely you've touched mine, because part of you pours out of me in these lines from time to time. And I felt that when she talked to me while I was running, and I feel that in this song that I wrote for her. And I didn't write it for her. I wrote it about her in 2011. It's inspired by a poem that Emily Colson Salgado, who's here, wrote about Neen. And she came out of me in these lines in this sense too. And I was scared to play it for her when I wrote it, because I knew that she would tell me that she loved it even if she didn't. So I was scared to put her in a position. I knew that she I didn't really want to. I made Eric Lewis play it for her instead, because I couldn't bear to sort of sing it in front of her. I never sang it in front of her. And partly because it's a fable. It's not a factual story, but the truth of her and the way that she was generous, and just how deeply she gave and how deeply I loved her is in this song. So I'll sing that now. This is called Kathleen. She comes driving in the springtime from somewhere by Racine, with Copenhagen in her pocket, a quilt of patches on her jeans. We all stop to watch her as she starts to set the scene. We all feel our walls crumble and fall every time we see Kathleen. We say, hammer me a nail, Kathleen. I think you could hold me together. Won't you build me a fence, Kathleen, so I know where I belong? Your hair is burning like a fire, Kathleen. You could light these dying embers if you paint me the sky, Kathleen.
summer sun is gone. She takes the houses out of hiding. She nails the trees into the ground. She hems our dresses and our heartache. She makes us feel like we've been found. And if we could write the story, if we lived within our dreams, we take her to town, we dance the night down, we crown her as our queen. Say, hammer me a nail, Kathleen. I think you could hold me together. Won't you build me a fence, Kathleen, so I know where I belong? Your hair is burning like a fire, Kathleen. You could light these dying embers if you paint me the sky, Kathleen, for the summer sun is gone. And if she feels alone, who could ever know? Who could ever touch Kathleen? Well, she met him in the summer on the shortest of the nights, walking tall along the high wire. She was hanging up the lights. He started singing in the darkness, just a hoping for to please. He opened his mouth, diamonds fell out, nearly brought her to her knees. Said, I'll hammer you a nail, Kathleen. I will try to hold us together, and I'll build you a fence, Kathleen, so we'll know where we belong. Your hair is burning like a fire, Kathleen. I could watch it shine forever. Let me paint you the sky, Kathleen, before the summer sun is gone.
Thanks.
Oh, Katie doll. Katie doll. Come on. How could that be any better? And how could you ever be self-conscious of that beautiful piece of legendary art? Oh man, I just love that. I love that song so much. As much as I love all of you, and as much as I love Neen, and as much as Neen loves all of you and me, especially me. Okay, now we're going to hear from another Rock, Mr. John Rock. Are you there? Are you there?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Well, thanks, Katie. I appreciate that. It's a really nice act to follow after that. Wow. So I could just throw my little script away. And but at any rate, I am one of the officers of the Neen fan club. Neen would refer to me as Johnner or Rocco. Hey, Rocco. Hey, Rocco. She said it every time she would call me or write me a note. Hey, Rocco. And it was as cute as ever. But of course, I got the Packer hat on and the hoodie, and I'm pretty dialed in with the Neen thing. So, but you know, I listening to everybody tonight, I'm humbled, and our family's humbled, and I can reflect back on what Mike said and what Mary Ellen said and what so many people have said already. And there's not much I can say. I think that, we have a pretty big family, and I don't know, it's kind of probably a human nature thing to like kind of grab your family member as your own, sister, brother, parent, and somehow think that nobody could ever know them like you know them, and no one could ever love them like you love them. And I think sometimes, at least for me, it's kind of a protective little shell that nobody can break through your family, and no one would ever really understand. But I am I'm pretty blown away by this. The other family, Neen's other family, the other family that, when you get to our age, maybe the other family is even bigger than the original family. And in this case, I don't know what to say. I'm overwhelmed at the influence that Kathleen had over so many people. And it's overwhelming. And one thing that means a lot to our family is, my dad was kind of a pillar down where we live, and he was a pretty well-known guy, and there were a lot of things that people were like, wow, that guy is so committed. He's so committed to what his whole endeavor in life was, and he seemed so sure and so confident about what his journey was going to be and what his journey would be, and he directed his life to this amazing crescendo. He affected so many people, and I was always wondering, I was like, wow, that is an amazing act to follow, and who how could you ever live up to that? And listening to everybody here and reflecting on this, Neen followed that act beautifully, and Kathleen's passion and fidelity to what she was kind of destined to do is something that I think I guess for my own personal, what else could you want to do other than to dedicate yourself and be so committed to your craft and to be so good at it? And this is the result of it with everybody here tonight. So I can't say enough about this honor to be even here watching you. I'm just blown away. So thank you. And thank you to Neen. And that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Rocco. That family, man. Neen could never talk enough about her family, especially her immediate family, but her entire family, which is all of you, everyone as part of the Neen Rock fan club as official members, were constantly talked about. And I know so many of your names, not because of knowing you in person, but because Neen Rock talked about you. I'm looking at you. So that's just wonderful. Amy Chafee was going to speak tonight and couldn't make it. She's known Neen pretty much her whole life. She was lived down the street around the corner from all the Rocks in Madison, and was one of the first Neen Rock fan clubs officers. And she said something to me today. I touched base with her, and she said, no one could quell gossip with just a look as Neen Rock did, but also if she needed to comment on it at the same time with that, the look, Well, and I thought that was very funny. So she wishes she could be here, and she will be certainly watching this recording. So kudos to Amy Chafee. And next, we're going to hear from Matt Zimbrowski, who is a writer and performer with Northern Sky and has been his entire life fandom of Northern Sky Theater. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, that is about as accurate as a statement as could be made. I grew up watching Northern Sky, AFT at the time, and I always wanted to be a part of the company, however that was. And I knew just based on the talent that was already there that my chances of making it as a performer with American Folklore Theater were pretty slim. And so I managed to get Jeff Herbst's attention enough with a couple of scripts that mercifully were never produced. And he said, hey, do you maybe want to be our music director next year? And I did not want to tell him that I really didn't like music directing, but I thought, well, it's my foot in the door. So I'm going to do what I can. And it became very quickly apparent that I was way out of my league. And one of the people that really made me feel like I still had something to contribute was Neen. And she just several times just gave me a hug or a pat on the back or whatever, just to tell me that you are still loved and appreciated. And someday you're going to do things that people are going to notice. I was still performing in Sunsets and S'mores, which was a real joy. And I made the trip back to Milwaukee one weekend and was going to make it just back in time for the performance. And I was running low on gas, so I pulled off to the side, went to a gas station, and it turned out that I was massively overdrawn on my account. And so I was quickly watching my dreams of ever being important to American Folklore Theater just slowly dissipating in front of me. And I called Neen saying, I am out of gas. I am never going to make it back in time. I don't know if someone can come pick me up. And she's like, where are you? And I said, St. Nazianz? And she's like, where the hell is that? And I said, it's somewhere south of Green Bay. I don't know. And she said, okay, do you have a credit card? Not a debit card. Do you have a credit card? And I said, yeah, I've got a credit card. It's at its limit. And she said, just trust me, just use it like you would a debit card and take some money out, because sometimes in an emergency, they'll let you take out $20. And I did what she said. And sure enough, $20 came out of the ATM, paid for my gas, and I made it up to Door County in time to do the show. And she just gave me this look of, we did it, dude. And a little fast forwarding from that, that same summer, I was working on a show that I really, really desperately thought that Northern Sky would do. And it just really wasn't hitting the mark. And I was feeling sorry for myself. And I was complaining to Neen one night. We went out to, I don't remember what, the Cornerstone, I think, in Bailey's Harbor. And she had had a couple of beers, and it was just me and my brother and Neen. And she's like, Maddie, she always called me Maddie. She said, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You have to do this because you have this company in your blood. So quit feeling sorry for yourself and go tell Jeff Herbst what you can do. And a few years later, I finally found a show that Jeff Herbst liked, and we were at the Alpine Resort about to do the curtain raiser for the premiere of Dr. Doctor that summer. And I was looking out the window, I was looking out at the lake, and I didn't even see Neen come up to me. And she came up next to me and she said, hey, Matt, in this exact same spot, Fred came up to me and said, hey, Neen, we work here. And I just looked out at the lake and I looked at her and I thought, if this is heaven, it's as close as I'm going to get, because this is exactly what I want right now. So thanks, Neen, and thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Matt. Oh, man. Oh, that's awesome. As per Molly's comment, I feel like Neen and I probably would have gotten arrested together and would have had to find our way out somehow without each other's help. Oh, man, that's funny. Okay, next we're going to hear from Dale Staffslian, who's a longtime Neen Rock fan, part of the Neen Rock fan club. Dale?
Hi, everyone. It's Dale and Barb, and
And we only knew Neen for a short time in comparison, certainly to many of you. But in the time we had, it was an incredible friendship. And when we first decided to volunteer to the theater, Neen was the person we talked with, and she encouraged us to become a part of the family and treated us right away, so much so that there is no way that you could not volunteer. When we cooked meals for the shows, Neen was there to support us, making sure dates were available, that were open, or worked to move dates to accommodate us, telling us that the food was incredible and helping in every way she could. It was just a joy to be with her that way. When our grandson would be with us at the shows, she'd make a space for him right next to her to watch the show and be involved. It probably also kept him away from selling the programs for $1. So she probably had a different, thing on there in mind to make sure that he wasn't making extra money off of Northern Sky. But she made sure our dogs, most of you have seen our dogs, and one was up here already, but she made sure that the dogs were coming to the show to be a part of the celebration of the Northern Sky family. And we hosted Guys and Dolls in the fall of 2019, and I hope that she can make the trip to spend some time with us. But unfortunately, she was unable to make it, but stayed in touch with email. But certainly with her enormous help, we were able to bring the group in, and we see Steve there, and they did an incredible job, and her help to put that together for our community here in Tomo was incredible. And we always wanted to thank her for that, with that direction. If we ran into her at the stores, we did a few times, she always had time to chat, to see how you were doing. And I'm sure that Dan, when she was with him, they'd spend many a minute hanging around a store with her as she chatted to everybody. And he just kind of stood to the side and watched as she just kind of went on with different things, which was a lot of fun also. And we'll miss her generosity, her smile, and her love she shared for the theater and everyone there. So we want to thank Neen for giving of herself and sharing the world of theater in ways that we didn't know were possible. Love you and miss you, Neen.
Thank you, Dale and Barb. Thank you so much. These little snapshots. I love these little snapshots. And then I'm all of a sudden thinking of Neen in the grocery store and picking up props for Guys on Ice. And we need to get the pickled eggs, but we can't get them at the Econo Foods because they don't sell them there. We got to go to the Walmart to get that. And then we can't get the Spam because I know. I still have lists of Guys on Ice props on my phone somewhere stored on various phones over the years. God, where are we going to get the cheese curds? They're everywhere. All right. Speaking of the Guys on Ice, we've got one of the guys here right now, Mr. Steve Kaler, and he's got a little ditty for us. Steve-o.
Yeah. I'm gonna just sing, and I don't know if I'll be. Yeah, I don't want to talk first. I just want to sing this song. This is by the late great Fred Alley. And it's called "Lift Me Up." Lift me up, lift me up. Can't you see I'm broken? Form a prayer with your lips. Soothing words are spoken. Healing wind, carry off my sorrow, take away yesterday, give me back tomorrow, give me back tomorrow.
gentle light, shine on me completely. All the darkness fall away, warm my heart so sweetly. Lift me up, lift me up, raise me on your singing. Temple bell is silent still, but my heart is ringing, but my heart is ringing. Just a couple words. Just kind of like just a beloved family member, and want to echo the way that she could make anybody just feel like at home and comfortable, and just no airs at all, just straight from the heart, loving and available, and just supremely kind, and just so efficient, and I miss her real bad. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve-O. That was beautiful. And your sentiments are felt by everyone here and all across the globe, in the thousands of people that have come across Neen, whether they knew her for a minute or 5 minutes or 5 years or 59 years. Everybody felt the same way about Neen, and she felt the same about them. It was amazing. Next, we're going to hear from another one of the guys on the ice, Mr. Bass himself, Mr. Lee Becker. Hi, Lee B.
Hi, everybody. So, yeah, following these songs is not easy. Thanks, Steve, and everyone else. I miss you all so much. So, I've got a bunch of little notes here, but when I think of Neen, whenever I bring her to mind, the first thing I hear her say every time is what do you need? And it didn't matter if it was something big or the stupidest, tiniest little adjustment to a costume piece or a prop. Whatever it was important to you, it was important to her. It was the biggest thing in the world at that moment for her. And she'd make it right. She would do whatever it took. She would never say, no, it can't be done. I can't remember a time where I said, could I get this fixed? Because whenever I move this way, it pulls, or whatever it was. She'd get it fixed. She'd figure out a way. And I knew, and when Doc and I are writing our crazy shows, and we come up with something like, we need a football that can flash while it talks, and we need a corset that will light up and a pitchfork that will light up. I just was sure Neen would figure out how to make it work. And And yeah, she would make whatever our dreams were come true more than anybody else in this company. She could make magic, and beyond all that on stage, beyond the stagecraft that was mind-blowing, because things could be and often were, particularly in those last days of rain and trying to get ourselves ready. The stress level was off the charts, and everyone at one point or another was losing their cool. And in the middle of it all, Neen was just what's next, what needs to be done, unflagging in her energy for others and for what needed doing. And without her, so much wouldn't have gotten done, and so many things would have been less. And I know we'll figure it out going forward. I know that all of us will think, what would Neen do, and dig inside of ourselves and find that well, try to figure out where she drew on it, because I don't know sometimes where she got it. For so many people, it felt to me, and I'm sure there were times that none of us saw where it took a toll on her that we couldn't appreciate, but it didn't matter because she just kept giving. It was bottomless. And I just know that for a long time, the answer to the question, what do I need, is going to be Neen. Thanks. I love you all so much.
Thanks, Libby. It's honestly so true. And I mean, she said it herself all the time. Stay cool. It's all about positivity and, communication, and everything's going to be fine. The theater could be on fire, but she would have a plan and she'd be able to lead you out of the fire. And she would do it with deep breaths, and she would do it with a pencil and a Sharpie and a notebook in hand, and she would be writing everything down so that she could recreate the fire in the theater and then lead you off the same way every time. That's wonderful. Next, we're going to hear from the lovely and talented Stuart Dawson, who is Sergeant in Arms, efficient in the Neen Rock fan club. Stuart, unmute yourself. Give us some words. Here we go.
Hello, am I on? Is my mic on? Hello? Okay.
You're good.
Okay, God, where do I start? I've 26 years. It's been a long road. I can't really think of anything to say that doesn't sound selfish, so I won't even try. However, I would like to relate a little story. This is a true story. Bear with me. Neen, the cow, and Stuart, the sheep, walked into a bar. AC tap, I think it was the AC tap. And the bartender saw us come in. And of course, the bartender's seen everything. The bartender's seen, Great Danes with lobsters and rabbis with parrots. And anyway, so the bartender was ready for this. And Neen, the cow, and Stuart, the sheep, walk up to the bar, and Neen, the bartender says, "What can I do for you? What do you have?" And Neen says, "Well, I'd like a vanilla milkshake, and my friend here would like a root beer float." And the bartender says, "This isn't a Dairy Queen. I can fix you I can pour you a beer, fix you a nice cocktail. What's your pleasure?" And Neen says, "No, I want vanilla milkshake and a root beer float. The bartender says, well, I don't have the stuff to make those with. I can't do that. So Neen, always thinking and always problem solving, it's absolutely astonishing. She says, well, tell you what, if you get me a bucket, I'll milk myself, and then you'll have all the ingredients you need. And the bartender's going, oh my God. He said, well, as much as I'd like to see a cow try to milk herself, I don't have a bucket. And now Neen's getting pretty frustrated. And she turns to Stuart the sheep and says, I don't know what to do. Perhaps we could go to Wilson's or someplace. And Stuart the sheep said, bah, because of course Stuart the sheep doesn't speak English. So that's my story it's a true story. Absolutely really happened. You could ask her, but she was I don't know, I really can't. I saw her one time fixing a shoe with barge cement, checking the weather on the computer and filling in the callboard all at the same time. And I was, that was one of a billion things that astonished me about that girl. I always called her my professional soulmate. And I promise, as long as I live, she won't be replaced. Thanks, everybody. Sure is nice to see you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Stuart. That was absolutely fantastic. And I can't think of a more factual story that has ever been told about Neen. Truly, I feel like all the other stories from tonight have been fraught with lies now. Okay, so next, Stuart, would you mind muting yourself? There you go. Perfect. We are now going to hear from Michael Hengels, who was a Northern Sky intern in 2014. Michael.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I was a intern in 2014. I was right out of college. That was I went right from the academic world to the professional world, and I was thrown into the beauty that is, the rehearsal of a season in rep and all of the chaos and everything. And I was like, wow, this is what it's like. And now I know that it's not like that anywhere else, because Neen is irreplaceable. I mean, there's no one else. I've never in my life worked with anyone like her. I still call it AFT. I've got my AFT shirt, which I think is one of the last ones that exists, because of course they changed the name. It was just, I learned so much that year. I learned to always, any place I go to work, I ask them, do they have snakes? I learned that from AFT, because I don't do snakes. But I learned so much about, other people have talked about her just unbelievable kindness. Like, to me, that if I had to describe her in one word, that would be it, because she is the center of the storm, and everyone wants something from her. Everyone has something to say, and she always made you feel like you were the only person that mattered in the moment. And that was an amazing thing, especially as an intern who's very new and is trying to figure out, their way. I did. I learned so much from her, and she's the person that I try, if ever I'm losing, if it seems too much, somebody else said, what would Neen do? I think of that and I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is doable. So I sadly only worked with her for one season, but I was lucky enough to do so, and no one I've ever worked with has made a bigger impact on me. I can say that honestly. And I was always thrilled to come back to Door County and just to see a show and know that, I'd be able to talk to Neen, and I'm going to miss that. So that's it.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I mean, words ring truer with every person. It's true. She had a solution for literally everything. Even ones that, and even if she didn't, she would be cool. She'd be like, all right, we're going to figure this out. And we would figure it out together, or she would know who to ask. So, yeah, she's irreplaceable. And the great part is that she trained us all so well that we now have an encyclopedic knowledge of what Neen would do. And therefore, we're all going to be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we are going to hear from Christy Doodle Dandy Carlson, who's been an ASM with Neen, and again, longtime Neen fan club member. Christy Doodle Dandy.
Thanks, Dan. I too was a kid who grew up seeing theater in the park. Of course, it was Heritage Ensemble back when I started, so that dates me a little. But I had the honor of first getting to know Neen over 20 years ago, and I got to work with her many times, both in Madison and in Door County. And I live in Washington, D.C. now, but I get home to Door County as often as I can. When I heard about the memorial tonight, I was hesitant to sign up to speak. It's been years since Neen and I were regular parts of each other's lives. And yet I'm really glad I did, because I think maybe in my own little humble way, I might be able to represent the dozens and dozens of people who Neen took under her wing, made better people, and then sent out into the world. Because that's who Neen was. She collected people. And once you were hers, you were always hers. She was unfailingly generous with her time, her mentorship, her love. Even when that love was tough love, she was never afraid to call you out when you needed it. She had your number. She saw you. I always love that about her. When Holly called me with the news of Neen's passing, it took me right back to those first few weeks after Fred's death. I was Neen's ASM that year, and I remember she enlisted me to basically help her stage manage Fred's memorial service at the church up in Sister Bay. She was obviously hurting just as much or more than any of the rest of us, but there we were setting up tables and getting things organized, and she assigned me to go sit with Eric so that he wouldn't be alone. And I remember she just grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me in the eye and said, "This is what we do. This is what we do." And a couple of weeks after that, we were all gathered in Bjorklanden. We were all sitting in a circle and we were talking about Fred's death. And Lori, who we're going to hear from in a minute, shared with us that she had read that there were really only 4 emotions in the world: mad, sad, glad, and afraid. And Lori at the time said, "And I'm feeling all of them right now, damn it." And I've gone back to Lori's words so many times over these past few weeks, and they ring true every day. Mad. I am so mad at myself that I was in Door County all last summer and I never saw Neen. Sad. Even though we weren't a regular part of each other's lives, just knowing that she was there meant a lot to me. And I'm so sad that she's gone, and I'm so sad that I can't hug all of you right now, because as all of you old-time AFTers know, I'm a really big hugger. Glad. I'm really glad that I had her in my life. Of course I am. Even if I'm a little pissed right now that I didn't get her for longer. We are all just so lucky. and afraid. And this is the emotion that I don't think I'm feeling very much of right now, because I don't think Need would much appreciate us being afraid. She gave us the tools that we needed to go out in the world and be good people and do good things. So we grieve together, and we love, and we support each other, because this is what we do. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you, Christy. That's so true. Everything's so true. Everything's so true. And I'm feeling so glad and happy and mad and afraid and all of the things all at once. But mostly I am super, super glad that all of you are here and you're all talking, and I get to meet more sides of Neen. And that is the thing I'm most grateful for right now, is being able to know her better. Even if she's not here, I can know her better through the hundreds of people that are part of the Neen Rock fan club. And that makes me so happy. Okay, next we're going to hear from Dave Hudson, who is, I'd be very interested to see what his self-appointed officer title in the Neen Rock fan club is going to be, being a writer himself and a longtime part of the Northern Sky family. Dave.
Hey, Dan. I think with Neen it would be literally biggest fan and secret admirer. If I was gonna put it in there, she was amazing. I'm gonna have to read what I wrote today, because I wouldn't be able to keep myself together if I didn't. It was difficult as I was preparing for this for a number of reasons, but the main one is obvious. Like everyone here, I'm going to miss Neen deeply, and I'll echo the thoughts of so many people who have spoken here today and online, is that she always asked about my family, and she truly cared, and it wasn't just making conversation. She cared, and I'll circle around about that caring later. Yeah, I forgot to mention one thing. You asked about the names, and the funny thing is, nowhere else in the world except for Northern Sky, I am like the Anne of Green Gables stories. I'm Dave Hudson with both names, like Gilbert Blythe or Anne Shirley. I'm Dave Hudson, and I think it was between Neen and Molly that they started that. And I think part of it is just that there's so many Daves up there, but I'm Dave Hudson, and that's, people would say, "Oh, Dave Hudson, how are you?" And Neen would say that. I do have to say, I was a little surprised when so many other playwrights and performers said that they thought they were Neen's favorite. I've always been pretty sure I was, but again, seriously, that's how Neen made you feel. I started working at AFT right when Neen had her scare with brain surgery, and I remember hearing about it over the winter, but also hearing about how truly miraculous her recovery was. And if you know anything about brain tumors, you know that they are vicious and the survival rate is incredibly low. And of course, Neen just kicked its ass. In her loss, I just want to say that we should all be grateful about that alone. We had this bonus round of 15 years, and we're all so lucky for that. I remember when I saw her after that scare, I just thought I had to have fun with it. And this was back in the days when we spent our first week of rehearsal at Bjorklanden. And when I saw her, since, brain surgery can lead to memory loss, I went up to her and I spoke very loudly and deliberately. I said, "Hi, Neen, I'm Dave. I'm one of the playwrights." And of course, she laughed at me because she had that wonderful yes and quality about her from improv. And for the next couple of days, I kept introducing her to guys who came into the room by saying, "Neen, this is Steve. You used to date him." Or, "Neen, this is Paul. You were engaged." None of it was true. But after about the third time I did that, Neen just rolled her eyes and said, "Man, I really got around, didn't I?" And that's just one example of the kind of sense of humor Neen had. My fondest memories with her are just the easy laughter that she always brought to any conversation. But I wanted to mention one big thing. And Neen was smart, like really smart. She was especially smart when it came to theater. She lived and breathed theater. And if you were ever lucky enough to be on the email distributions of her show notes, you know that she understood theater as well as anyone. You know by now that she stepped into many roles during a time in the arts. She, costumes, set design, whatever it took, she could do it. And this circles back around to her caring, though. Neen was a phenomenal stage manager because she had gravitated to it through her caring. She cared about the art and she cared about us, each of us. And that was what drew her to stage management, and it made her a true absolute treasure. The last thing I'm going to say is I'm not sure how I'm going to process this loss of this amazing woman. So many people at Northern Sky are or were company members, and you were so lucky. You got to spend summers with her and maybe even spend social time with her. For me, there was always just that brief window of pressure-filled rehearsals where Neen, of course, took care of the writers and their shows. But then I'd go back home. I didn't ever really get to hang with her, but I know it would have been amazing. And at least I had her amazing show notes to get me through the season. And that brings me to the thing that I'm grappling with the most, as I'm sure that everyone else is the thought of returning to Northern Sky and not having Neen there. And not having Neen to take care of us, to laugh with us, and above all, to provide a heart in our shows that audiences never knew about. Neen truly provided this amazing heart that echoed throughout the company. I know that heart will always be there, and she put so much of herself into everything at Northern Sky. And as hard as it will be to step into the rehearsal room with Neen not physically there, I think we can at least take such great comfort in knowing her love and caring will be with this theater for as long as the songs echo in the woods or in the amazing walls of the new space. In theater, we believe in ghosts. And another way to say ghosts is spirit. And we know that Neen's spirit will be with this theater forever. Thank you, Neen, for taking care of us.
Thank you, Dave. That was beautiful. And I know that every time I see a Luna moth, I will see Neen Rock. And every time I hear an owl, I hear Neen Rock. And every time I think of anything in my life, Neen is usually attached to a memory of that thing. Truly. Oh yeah, the June bugs. Oh my God, the June bugs. And being outside at night with like the lights burning down on us, and it's freezing cold because it's June in Wisconsin for whatever reason. And there's June bugs like dive bombing our faces, focusing lights. That's, oh gosh. Memory lane hitting me at all sides. What would Neen do? Breathe, just breathe. Take a breath, Dan. Okay. That's better. Great. We're just putting on skits. We're just putting on skits here, people. Putting on skits. Next, we have the incomparable Lori Heggie to speak some words of wisdom and some lovely memories of our beloved Neener. You're great, and you look great, and you're fantastic.
Thank you, Dan. When you did this look of Neen, I just think about almost every time I would show up in the county and walk into a rehearsal room and Neen would be busy, but she'd look over her glasses and see you like that look when you arrive, like, we'll talk, and just, Chrissy, thanks for saying this is what we do, because it's going to get me through this.
I got you, girl.
I'm going to tell the story of the last day I ever spent with Neen. It also happens to be the best day I ever spent with Neen. Last August, John and Celia and I snuck into the county for a couple days. We knew it wouldn't be the same, but of course we had to go to the park, and we brought a picnic basket in a fancy basket John and I got as a wedding gift but had never used. It was a perfect day at the park. You all know what I mean. John spotted a snake in the wood chips and chased after it. We squealed when he caught it. I laid on the stage, took pictures of the treetops. We chatted with a family of fans and watched their kids sing songs from Northern Sky shows. I was standing on stage when I heard a car pull up backstage. I ran back, and there was Neen. She had come to the theater to look for a can of paint. And when she slammed her car door, she heard me yelling at her from the top of the stairs. You can imagine my delight that she chose that moment to come to the theater, and hers when she found us there. We decided it wasn't an accident. We were so glad to see each other, and that gratitude permeated this whole visit. We asked her to join us for lunch, and I saw her body relax when she said, "Yes, I really don't have to be anywhere," which we all know in and of itself is rare for Neen. I remember when we sat down on stage to eat, she said, "It's so weird. This pandemic sucks, but I love that it's given me time to say yes to things." She was amazed at the actual plates in our fancy picnic basket, and we laughed about how we had never used it and how it was obviously intended for this special day. And we sat on stage eating and chatting about all the things we were grateful for finding each other, for the beautiful day, for the food, for the time, for our friendship, for the years, for the dragonflies sunning themselves next to us on the stage, for Celia being so grown up, and for memories we had shared along the way. Neen wore her heart on her sleeve with me. And you know that amazement she held when she acknowledged the good stuff in her life? We talked about that stuff. Like the days after Fred died, when Neen and Jacinda and I huddled together in Jacinda's house on Chapel Lane, and how one day, I think Jennifer Peterson-Hein was there too, we sat around and painted our nails. Like girlfriends, Neen said. This cracked her up. We all know the image of Neen having girlfriends ruins her street cred. But yes, Neen, like girlfriends. She had told me before what it meant to her that Sin and I were her girlfriends. I'm holding on to that one. Like the day Jeff and I came to see her in Madison when she was recovering from her first aneurysm. How many years ago? Neen said, "I thought you were coming to see if I wouldn't be able to do my job anymore." No, Neen, I reminded her, we came to see you because we love you and we wanted you to know that. She told me, I know that now, but I was so scared. I can only say, of course you were. Like the days when we lived together on Gibraltar Road and John Heggie came a-courtin' and I didn't know what to do at first. She loved to tease me about that, tickled at how it played out in the end. But that day, while we finished our lunch, she asked Celia questions and they talked heart to heart. And then John showed us a snake bite, which he had not admitted to until this moment. Neen kicked into Neen mode. She ordered us backstage to get her first aid kit. And when we passed by the bench by the shed, Celia suggested someone should carve the boxcar cat into the bench. The logo for our show, Boxcar. It's the marking that hobos would put on the fence to signify, kind lady lives here. Kind lady lives here. Neen handed Celia her pocket knife. You carve it, she said. And then she tended to John's snakebite and supervised the carving. And when Celia was finished, Neen promised Celia that she would go over it with the soldering iron so the cat would last forever. If Neen has not gotten around to that yet, John will finish it for her the next time we're in Door County. There are so many other days I've had with Neen. Days in the rain, days in the dark, days in the cold, days in the heat, days when things went perfectly, and days when I broke a prop. But that last day, that most perfect day, ended like this. We went to Not Licked Yet. And while we were standing in line, Neen turned to me and said, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I've never been here. I've picked up custard and taken it home, but when you would all come here after a show, I was still working. I've never sat here and eaten custard before. And we laughed and made her order a giant sundae and thanked COVID for this trip to Not Licked Yet. And suddenly, Dan Klarer appeared, and the perfect day got even more perfect. And the 5 of us went and sat in the shade and took off our masks and ate custard like normal people. And that's the last day I had with my girlfriend, Neen.
Oh, Lori, that was the most perfect day. And I actually had friends up that I was like, we got to go to Not Licked Yet. We should just go. It's so good. And and I left them. I completely left them to eating their frozen custard, because as soon as I turned around and I went, my Neen sense went off. And then and I saw her, like, she had her little coat on, her little flannel, and then I saw Celia and I saw John and I saw you, and I was like, sorry friends, I gotta go. I gotta go hang out with me and my friends for 20 minutes. I'll be back, I promise. Just eat your frozen custard. Oh, it was glorious. It was so glorious. And what you and I talked about from that day was just an immense gratitude that we had this. Everybody was so grateful for this time. John was grateful, and Celia was grateful to be with us all, and Lori was grateful to have all of a sudden these friends just pop out of the woodwork in Door County, because like you go to Door County and all of a sudden you're going to see people. It's just going to happen. But the serendipity that Neen just happened to be at the park at that one moment, and well, stay with me. That's one of my favorite days of this summer. It was so great. We have one more speaker tonight, and that is the ever lovable, huggable Doc Heidi. And Doc's going to say a few words and lead us in a little song.
Thanks, Dan. The first time I ever heard of Neen Rock, I think was somewhere around 1986 or 87. My good friend Fred Alley said he was hanging out with this woman, and he said, she's the best stage manager in the state of Wisconsin. She's a fabulous dancer. She's an amazing skier. She played Papa Smurf in the Ice Capades. She's creative and funny and talented. And I mean, he made her sound superhuman, really. And then, of course, as we're all sharing tonight, when I was lucky enough to meet Neen, it turned out to be all true, that she was all of those things and more. And so many things have been said tonight about her that it hardly feels like I need to say anything further. I was really struck by what Lori said about Neen having never been to Wilson's.
Not yet.
Or not looked at, because she didn't have time to, because Neen was giving her heart and soul to Northern Sky Theater. One of my favorite Neen stories is Jody and I, many years ago, had a TV that was in the barn where we used to rehearse at, Utopia Boatworks. And we went over one night after show. We got there about 12:30 in the morning, and we saw the light on in the costume shop, so we went up to ask Neen if she'd like to join us. We were going to watch something really long. I don't remember what it was. And Neen said, oh no, I'm working on this costume piece. And this was well into the summer, right? It wasn't, when everyone else was working real hard. It was, most of us were just like taking time off and going out, enjoying ourselves after shows. But Neen was working on this piece and she was really enjoying it. She said, go on and enjoy yourself. We ended up watching this movie. It was like 2.5 hours. We came back down. It was 3 a.m. and the light was still on because Neen was still up there working. And of course, we had like a production meeting at 9 a.m. or something. So she was always doing that and she was the ultimate servant of our mission, I think. She was the person who never was trying to be in the spotlight, who was always trying to highlight all of us. All of us felt special for her. The prototypical Neen interaction for me was coming up to her with a need and somebody else was talking to her because there were so many things that needed to be done. And then, as Lee was saying, she would turn to you and say, "What do you need, sweetie?" And you described 3 things, really small technical things. She didn't take any note. It was like, "Got it. Yep, that's exactly right." And then 2 days later, it was all taken care of. And I was always amazed. I was thinking, how does she pull this off? What kind of brain does this woman have that she can store all these random pieces of information from all these people on a given night and remain on top of it? And that was her gift, or one of her many gifts, as well as that more fundamental thing that we're all talking about, that ability to make us all feel cared about. Her inability to tolerate any kind of drama or BS. She always wanted the interns to get along well. She wanted the company to get along well. When that wasn't happening, she made sure that she gave them her own wisdom. At one point, she actually called him Jody so she could do a little training session of the interns so that they could learn some life skills and how to eat well and how to relate to each other with good, healthy psychology. There was no one like her and never will be, I don't think, in our troupe. It's hard to imagine what we'll do without her. I am going to do a little song here. This was a song that was in 2 shows that Neen was production stage manager for, Moonlight Marshmallows and Sunset and S'mores. I thought this would be fitting because your sound is all off, so this is a song I think you all know and we can all sing along with as long as we keep ourselves on mute. I'll have my microphone on. My final thought about this is a song about passing over into heaven, and I'm aware that not everyone on this Zoom call tonight believes in heaven, but something I can say with assuredness is that even if you don't believe in heaven, you certainly believe that if there is a heaven, Neen is there right now. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. River Jordan is deep and wide. Hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side. Hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. River Jordan is chilly and cold. Hallelujah. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sail. Hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sail. Hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael, row boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael row the boat ashore. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Doc. That was beautiful. We have one more speaker, actually. Neen's little brother, Billy, big brother Billy, would like to say a few words. Bill, are you on there?
I am.
There we go.
You hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. There you are.
Okay. Just a few things. This nightcap, which everyone should wear tonight, or where you can put a sock on your head. This is made by Neen for all of us on one Christmas where she made nightcaps and some of us pajamas, which was incredible. And they have little bells on the tops, so they ring like we're all elves. This is a hobby horse that Neen made for the girls, our girls, Anne and Lucy, for Halloween. Then, of course, you can't forget a sewing basket full of all the equipment needed to make any mends or any new provisions needed. And this beautiful tin, and Neen loved antiques, tin sewing kit. If you can hear all the gear, it was always at the ready at our house for any mending or buttons or anything. But I think the most important thing to say is Marcia and I and Lucy and Anna and all my brothers and sisters, we are so thankful for all the support Northern Sky has given us, and everyone, friends and family outside of Northern Sky, at this moment for our support. And the love is just flowing. And we appreciate it very, very much. And thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Yeah, thanks, man. There is no person that I knew better who could say thank you and mean it more than Neen Rock. And she would make you know. She would look at you over her glasses and she would say, Daniel, I gotta tell you, thank you. And she would look you square in the soul. And I want to extend my neeniest thank you to all of you. You know, I personally have a 15-year working relationship with Neen and have worked with her on the road and both in Madison and Door County, and have you know, had late night calls with Neen at all hours of the night, whether she was working or she got up and couldn't sleep. But Brian, and we have to acknowledge Brian Smith as the most amazing person on the planet, and the most gratitude we can give to that man for taking care of our lovely Neen, and how happy he made her. And that's something that will always stick with me, is making Neen laugh and hearing her laugh. And I can always hear it. You know, I would, every time I came into a room or I could see her shoulders up around her ears because she was focused on something or working on something, and she'd have she'd have 10 coats on. She'd have, you know, her cell phones going off, and she'd go, "Oh God, I can't talk about this," you know, and I would whatever song popped into my head, I would start singing, and wherever I could fit Neen Rock into the lyrics, and she would wait until the Neen came out, and sometimes it was right away. Neen Rock is a very, very, very fine rock. And I could see her shoulders start to like relax and shake. And then she would either start to sing along, with two cats in the yard, life used to be so hard. And she'd have her little voice. Or she would look, she would do what Lori told, you know, she'd clock you and she'd go, Dan Klarer, you're very funny. And making her feel relaxed and giving her her own advice was the greatest gift that I could give to her. And being able to dance with her and antique with her and talk about all of you lovely people with her will always be my favorite memories. Before we end, I also want to tell all of you, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you all heard that Neen gave a lot of life as an organ donor, and from what I understand, all those organs were successful matches, and which is pretty amazing that all the hosts took and are living on through Neener. So to round it out, we put together a little supercut from an interview that Neen did recently, this in the last couple years. And there, it's the most concise audio snapshot of Neen Rock that I can think of. And I find myself listening to it over and over just to hear her voice. And it's also very funny. And there's so many Neenisms in there. And we're gonna put her on the God mic so we can all look at each other and laugh and connect with each other and give Neen Rock the last word. And we'll keep this this Zoom open afterwards. So if anyone wants to hang out and chill and talk, chat, we can do so. So thank you. That's a Q59, standby Q59, and Q59, go.
I was a dancer and I was backstage, and I was fascinated by backstage stuff. And I fell in love with it. I had no idea what a stage manager was. I was like, that's what I want to do. I think you should be nice, keeping everyone calm, because, you know, we put on skits. I have to say it a lot to people. We put on skits to take that pressure off a little bit. Things change all the time. It's live. It's not a movie. Never lose your cool. And you just never freak out. Stay cool. I do everything in pencil, everything. You erase a lot. And I write everything down. I'm a yes man. With theater people, the stage manager is what tethers them to the earth. They need to be free to have all their dreams as much as possible be fulfilled. The actors need to take as many risks with their character as possible, safely, because rehearsals are safe. They're able to do anything without anyone making fun of them. But you're kind of the reality person. I just stay positive, listen. And, you know, I choose your words carefully so you don't ever squash creativity. I love ballet as an art form. I love doing it. And then when I started working opera, I read music, and that was huge because I grew up playing piano, so I could read music. And then when I would be backstage, I would watch, for instance, what a props guy would do. I'd watch what an electrician would do. Now, I just said, I love what you do. I want to learn more about it. And I'm not kidding. Stagehand said, anytime, Neen. I learned how to rig because of that. I learned how to be on a fly floor. And all I had to do was ask. And people were quite generous. If somebody is about to go on stage and they go, don't these pants look so stupid? You don't say yes. You say, you know what, you look great and you're fantastic. You're going to outact the pants. I mean, I rarely take, like at dinner, I don't go get dinner. I just stay in the theater because I'm usually writing cues. Before you go into theater, you should always know where a fire extinguisher is. You should always have an ice pack. You should always know where the first aid kit is. So on headset, I just said, I need trash cans at every single wing right now. And he barfed his way through the performance. You got to keep those lines of communication open. Talk. La, 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 la. Please take the exits at the back of the house and look for the red lights. And please be orderly and let's be quiet about it. And, you know, school teacher sort of stewardess. Everything's fine. Everything's always fine. Even if, you know, the stage is on fire. It's okay. So sometimes I just work in theater without being the boss. I just put a wrench in my pocket or my little sewing kit on, and I don't have to tell anybody what to do. And you're there at rehearsal every moment of every day. So observe people, see how they're doing. Keep a good tally on how individuals are doing within their jobs. I think I was really lucky to fall into companies that I just really loved. I love the art. I love the art form. I feel honored to work on a lot of shows because these people are so talented. It freaks you out. All right, honey. Thanks. Call me anytime. Stay cool.
Thank you, everyone. Please go on the tribute page and listen to that whole interview. It's about a half an hour and it's wonderful. I think I'm going to write a book about it because there's just so much knowledge in there, and Neenisms are what the world needs. We'll keep this open, and maybe Molly play a little music under. If people want to hang out and chat, they're welcome to do so. Otherwise, I love you all and have a wonderful evening. Neen be with you.
Only two things in life that make it worth living is guitars that tune good and firm.